Good morning. I'd like for you to silently join me in our opening prayer. The energy of love is within us and is us. Whole and complete is the I am that we are. We awaken to the truth of our being. We will this be done within and without. May we come to recognize that we receive all that we give. We know that we have forgiven ourselves when we forgive others of all grievances held within our minds. May we not be led into temptation by the voice of separation, but instead may we transcend all illusion. For ours is the power, love, and peace of Christ consciousness found within each of us, who is but the perfect extension of the one mind and heart that is shared by all and is our birthright as the holy extensions of love itself. And our affirmation of faith is, we believe in one God, the author and energy of all life, whose love sustains the universe and all things found within us. Our 5 Christ principles. There is only one energy in the universe. That energy is love, at all times active in everyone, everywhere. 2, we are the divine energy of love. That energy is found throughout the universe and in all things, whether seen or unseen. 3, we create our experiences by what we choose to think, feel, and believe, thereby establishing our responsibility for our own choices. 4, through opening our heart center, we connect with the energy of love and bring out the Christ within us. And 5, we express our desire to be of service when we live and demonstrate Christ consciousness in all our affairs. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to those who are watching, and welcome to the Church of Christ Consciousness. Thank you, Miss Penny. Thank you, Kevin, for playing the music this morning. We're here for those who are ready to live the truth of their being. And in living the truth of our being, we have to live from an open heart. So I've titled today's talk, Living a Heart-Centered Life. Again, I know we talk about it a lot, and I think most people don't really or fully yet realize what living from the heart means. Does it mean that the mind is no longer active? No, it does not mean that. It means that the mind and heart work in union. They work together. When we live a heart-centered life, here's the beauty of it. We recognize our heart's desires. The mind no longer is afraid of love. It is no longer afraid of listening to the heart. It truly listens to the heart and realizes that the heart is not there to hurt us. It is there to guide and direct us. So when we live a heart-centered life, we actually are tapped in to the divine energy of the universe. We hear and know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But how do we stay tapped in? How do we stay connected to that voice within that comes from our heart? Most people think that they have to, pray 30 minutes every hour on the hour or meditate for hours on end. But those are crutches. Those are crutches. We've talked about that before. Again, there's nothing wrong with prayer and meditation, no. But if you believe that is the only way that you could get in touch with that divine voice within you, then you're using a crutch when that divine voice is already there. It's already there for all of us to hear. And you can be driving a car in the worst traffic with noises everywhere, and you can still hear that divine voice. It doesn't necessarily mean that the mind is so quiet you could hear, a bird chirp. The mind can be running, but you have made the conscious choice not to act or follow all of the thoughts that are running through the mind. But here's the beauty of living a heart-centered life. Peace is the prerequisite for the return of knowledge. We've discussed this before. But the mind does not know peace. So if you're trying to get your mind peaceful, oops, good luck. Peace comes from the heart, from an open heart. Then the mind can become quiet and still and listen. But how many people sit and think, I've got to quiet my mind, I've got to still my mind, I've got to seek peace. Well, you're seeking peace in the wrong place. Seek peace from within. It's already there, it's in your heart. And since peace is the prerequisite for the return to knowledge, when you allow the peace to rise within you from your heart, the mind will automatically hear the guidance coming from the heart. That's the return of knowledge with a capital K. That's the divine voice. The heart speaks the language of feelings. The mind interprets the feelings and knows exactly what to do. And then it comes together, dovetailing. And your life becomes a dance between the mind and the heart. And it becomes almost a symphony as you hear from the heart. And you know what to do, what to say, when to say it, even if you should say it. You will always be guided perfectly. Now the mind, when we live from the mind, we live in duality. The mind cannot help itself. For the mind judges all things. It compares all things, and it usually finds itself coming up lacking. Well, the heart doesn't know about lack. It does not know about judging. The heart only sees two things. You may call it a judgment, but it really is a profound discernment. For the heart doesn't see someone who is upset or angry directing it at us. Rather, like the mind does, the heart instead, it sees either love or a call for love. So instead of blaming and judging the other person for what the mind believes is happening, the heart simply recognizes, that's a call for love. Because what is the heart? It is love. It's the center of love, the center of peace, the center of our happiness. So when we hear only love or a call for love, then we're out of judgment. There's the peace. There is the peace. And once we recognize we're in peace, we will know exactly how to help whatever the situation may be, whatever that person is calling out for. Sometimes the best the heart will say is just listen, be quiet. There's nothing to say. They're just words. And I wanted to share something with y'all. A lot of times people get upset with me because I refuse to argue with them. Boy, do they get upset with me because I refuse to argue with them. Arguing is conflict. It robs me of my peace, which is, to me, my greatest treasure. But I will listen to what anybody has to say. But most of the time, I recognize that if they're coming from a place of irritation, anger, upset, if they're upset, I can lovingly sit there and listen without actually judging them. Just listen. Because maybe all they need in that moment is just to be heard. There's nothing that I can say that's going to change what that person is thinking. But here's the best part of living a heart-centered life. It's recognizing our responsibility. It is recognizing the spiritual law of responsibility. But more importantly, it is living with the recognition that we are to be fully responsible for our own life. In other words, if I get upset, you didn't do it to me. I chose to be upset. And that is probably the hardest thing for most people to recognize. I told someone this week, they called me and this is all I heard. They were complaining about somebody else. And kind of, do you remember the voice of the teacher on Charlie Brown? Rah, 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 rah. That's what the person really sounded like. And I said, stop for 1 minute, let me ask you a question. Okay, this person said. I said, what is it that you believe made you upset? That's what the other person said. This person said to me. That's what they said. Oh, so you let words upset you. Do you know exactly what they meant? Well, yes, I knew by the tone of voice. I said, we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. It isn't the words that hurt you or upset you. Words are words. They're powerless. They're meaningless. They only have the meaning that we give them. It's the tone of voice used that tends to drive into us and we react from. But why are we reacting to a tone? Why are we reacting to a tone? It's because we've been taught to. That if I hear a tone of voice, it means that I should become scared and defensive. Something bad is coming at me. That's my own interpretation. But that's what we've all been taught. That's living from the mind, guys. That's not living from the heart. The heart recognizes a tone is nothing more than the word. The tone is meaningless. I am responsible for how I choose to either react or respond to the person's tone of voice. If I do not allow it to affect me, then it won't affect me. But if I choose to become upset by the tone and the words that somebody else has used, then I will be upset. It wasn't you that upset me. I allowed it. I am the one who chose in that moment to be upset. And remember, the spiritual law of responsibility says that we are responsible for all we see and experience and believe. And we choose the feelings that we would have. We choose the feelings. And we set the goals that we would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to us happens because we asked. And we receive as we asked. We are responsible. So the moment if I'm truly living from the heart, does not mean that I won't feel myself beginning to become upset. Nowhere does it say that you won't recognize anger or irritation within you. It only says that the anger is not justifiable. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get angry or that you're not going to feel the anger arise within you. Of course you are. Welcome to the humanity. Welcome to the human experience. But here's the good news. If you're living from the heart, the moment that you recognize that anger is arising, you can immediately take responsibility, recognize the anger is yours. It's coming from something, generally from something in the past, because that person has either elicited within you before, or even if it's a person you don't know, by the way, you're pulling it from the past and dumping the past on that person. That's the mind. That's what the mind does. The heart, in the moment, realizes, oh, it's this word, this person, it's a call for love. It's okay. I can stand and love the person. I can forgive myself for allowing the feeling of anger to arise, but to recognize that I am the one with the power. I don't have to go dark. Anger takes us into darkness. When we live from Christ consciousness, guys, we live from a place where we recognize the light and the darkness, but we don't try to run out and destroy it. Rather, we shine the light of truth, and the darkness is dispelled. So I'm not going to go out and destroy someone who hurts or angers me, hurts my feelings. That only hurts me. When I live from the heart, I can recognize the peace, stay in peace, and respond in love instead of reacting in anger. And that's what living from the heart is all about. It is to recognize the mind can only see and interpret dualistically because it's always judging and comparing. The heart only sees one. The heart only sees love because love only recognizes itself no matter what flavor is coming at it. Even darkness is just love without the light shining on it. Hear that. Darkness is nothing but love without the presence of light. So it doesn't know, it's ignorant. You cannot. I'm going to close today by changing around a little bit of what Dr. Martin Luther King once said. He said, you cannot fight hate with hate. Only love can do that. You cannot fight darkness and ignorance with darkness and ignorance. It does nothing. It changes nothing. Only love and peace can change that. Only light. And that is what living from the heart is. It is being the light. It is being the Christ in the moment. And that is why we're here. So thank you guys, and thank you for watching. And now Penny will lead us into meditation.
Just settle yourself a little bit, move, close your eyes, get comfortable, and watch those thoughts that run through your mind. See them rise. If the thought is a negative thought that you don't want to have, just take a pen and pop it. And if it's a thought of love that you would like to express or feel, give gratitude to it and let it be on its way, so that we can learn to clear our minds of those negative thoughts and realize and express the love starting within us. And as we come back to this place, let's remember the thoughts that we felt. Let's remember to recognize what the thoughts are and look at one another in gratitude, because this is our community and we hold a special place in our heart for each and every person in this room and everyone who watches us who wants to learn and know how to walk in Christ consciousness. Oh, got so meditative I forgot the rest of my stuff, sorry. I would like for you to join us in our offertory prayer. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We give and receive in love. And I'd like to invite everybody to check out our website called churchofchristconsciousness.org. See you next week.